that I've been kind of cultivating over the last couple years, mostly out of sheer disappointment by MLB and the way that they treat fans, especially young fans who supposedly MLB is trying to, I don't know if I should say recruit, but they're trying to gain young fans, and they do everything to shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to cultivating that relationship with young fans. Now, I'm a dad. I'm a baseball coach. I played baseball, not professional, but I played little league. I played in high school. Played recreationally. I still play a little bit of 40 plus baseball and softball with some guys around town here. Anyways, one of the things that I think MLB does wrong is it separates the fans too much. In Oakland, for example, fans are quite a bit away from the field compared to other ballparks, and that's an Oakland problem. That's it's not something you necessarily see at other ballparks, but they've created a few problems where they disconnect the fans. Now, young fans aren't necessarily knowledgeable about the game, and they're more interested in basically autographs and balls. And that's what it comes down to. They want to meet their favorite player. They want to take a picture with them. They want to get an autograph. They don't care who it is. They don't even know who these guys are half the time. And they want a ball. MLB, from what I've read, they own Rawlings, and I would like to actually look that up. But even if they don't, they're getting baseball at bulk prices. They're going through hundreds of thousands of baseball across the league throughout the year, and these could be easily thrown up into the stands, given to the little kids, and it's a little bit of effort that could go a long way into cementing newfound fandom. I remember going to my very first Oakland A's game. I was young. I was probably 4 or 5 years old. My very first game happened to be Ricky Henderson's first home game at the Coliseum. I want to say it was 79. But I remember that very fondly. I remember a lot of there was a lot of hoopla about that. It's like, hey, this new guy, he's supposed to be really good, whatever. I had no idea what was going on. I was just listening to what was being said around me. I remember getting a little pennant and being super happy about it. And some guy gave me a ball. I remember sitting on the aisle right against the stairway that goes down on the left field side. Back in the day, a guy would hit a home run and he'd hop the fence and he'd grab the home run. You can't do that anymore. Since they reconfigured it for Mount Davis. Anyways, how can MLB fix this problem? First, I would, if I was Rob Manfred, or any of the owners, I would make an effort for every single game. Either tell my players, hey, work the lines, sign a couple balls, shake a couple hands. I mean, I know there's a pandemic or whatever, but shake a couple hands or sign a couple autographs or take a couple selfies. Not a big effort. If you're paying a guy $25 or $30 million, your shit still stinks. We went to, I don't know, now dozens of Angels-A's games and Angels games in Anaheim where guys like Mike Trout don't even take batting practice. They go and they sit in the batting cage while the rest of their team is out on the field, sweating their asses off, and he's hiding underneath the bleachers somewhere. I mean, that's greatest guys in the game, at least greet the fans, say hi. Sign a ball. You don't have to sign 20 of them. You don't have to sign everyone's. But you know what? It's that easy. It's that easy. Say hi. Sign something. Take a selfie. That simple. But you got guys who are, just oblivious or incredulous. They don't care. That's problem number one. And if this is a problem of time or efforts or whatever, that you're busy, guys, you can easily set it up where, and you could make money off of this, you do it at the fan fests. Set up a time. Hey, half an hour before or whatever, an hour before game time, so-and-so is going to be up in this section signing autographs for 20 minutes. Yeah, buy a ticket or whatever. It's not that hard. Give kids more access. Hell, I would be looking for ways to get kids involved. Go down to the local Little League and say, hey, would you guys like to come out here and, watch batting practice? Or, either from behind the cage or off on the sides by the dugouts. They don't. It's rich guy stuff. It's just a select few who get to come and experience the game. Guys with money. And that sucks, because let's be honest, the fans that they want are fans that have no money. We get more and more of these stadiums, and they keep pricing the fans out of the experience. There was a report that came out a few weeks ago about what team experienced for basically a family of four with an average seat price and 2 beers, 2 sodas, and 4 hot dogs. And you're looking at, averaging around $150 for a family. Some of these other teams are in well over $200. That's great. But if you look at the demographic of the fans that are in the stands today in America, it's a bunch of rich white guys. I'm going to be blunt. When I was a kid and I was going to A's games in the 70s and 80s, it was a pretty good mix. A lot of black folks, a lot of Latin folks, quite a few white guys, but I barely see any black people at the games anymore. Baseball forgot black people. The only black people I see playing today, most of them are from Dominican Republic and Cuba. Where are those kids today? They're playing basketball and football, because those sports reach out to those kids. When the Raiders were here and what the 49ers do, there's a lot more local outreach. And what every other NFL team does, there's a lot more local outreach. When it comes to college football, there's a lot more local outreach. When it comes to high school football, a lot more local outreach. Where baseball specifically, I'm talking about, and to a degree, any expenses, ice sports are the worst. Like figure skating and hockey, it's all rich kids. It's all rich kids. But back on track. They need to get out in the community and promote baseball in the community. Go out to little leagues. Don't just send a couple shirts. Our league, which frankly we don't need, we have Alameda's a pretty wealthy town at this point. In the military days, Alameda was a very blue collar military town, and you needed some extra help with the baseball. You kept the prices low, and you did kind of minimal spending. But for Alameda, I'm just using us as an example. We take the A's jerseys, which is great. That does help. We don't need it. Oakland needs it. San Leandro needs it. Richmond needs it. Pittsburgh and Bay Point need it. Not Brentwood, not Alameda, not San Francisco and Daly City and Fremont. They don't need it as much actually seeing teams go out into the communities and make baseball happen. There are leagues that I'm finding out who are struggling for funding. They're struggling for fields. Soccer is taking over in a lot of places, so there are fewer baseball fields to play on. Grown-up softball is taking it over. The fields are in massive disrepair. There's a disconnect. There's always that disconnect. The MLB could be taking those millions of dollars that they have for the community funds and helping develop more fields, more playing facilities, maybe working with nonprofits, which is kind of something that I've been thinking about doing myself personally, which is making things like travel baseball, which is what happens somewhere after Little League and before high school. Make that accessible to kids who have no money. That's a huge deal. There's some great kids out there who are losing opportunity because they don't have the money. Travel baseball is massively expensive. My kid plays. He started last season. We're done with Little League. Little League will cost you $100 or $200 a year, plus whatever it is for your uniforms and bats and stuff. Bats are expensive. When you get these new ones, you have to have specific bats for specific ages and so forth. $200 or $300 for a good bat that could make the difference between an infield hit or a home run. These things matter, and having baseball, these big guys like we have the A's and the Giants here, they could be funding a hell of a lot more, but they don't. When I can see the Coliseum basically from here. I can just see the tip of the lights. I don't know if you guys can see it out here where I'm at. I don't know, it gets a little dodgy after. Anyways, you can see the lights from here. If I go out to the street, I can see it. I can hear the announcements, but we're disconnected. We're disconnected from who's out there. But anyways, I keep getting sidetracked. Ways MLB engage with young fans. Get rid of the fucking nets. A couple kids who aren't paying attention, name the parents. You guys are the culprits here. You've taken the fun out of baseball, and you've created an issue where baseball has to take the fun out of baseball. So now we have nets all the way down the foul line. So again, how do kids connect with baseball? They want a piece of it. They want something from it. They want to be a part of it. And sometimes it's, again, getting a toss-up or getting that fly ball or catching that home run or a foul ball. That's a big deal. And when you got a net there, that takes some of the fun out of it. So what? One guy every 3 seasons takes a whack to the head with a bat. I mean, it sucks. And there's been some kids who have hurt. But honestly, if you're gonna be there, pay attention. Don't bring your really small children and then let them run wild. Be a better parent. We've taken that away. Maybe because we're a litigious society at this point. Everybody's suing everybody. But it's printed on your ticket. It's posted on the walls. It's posted elsewhere. Bats and balls may be leaving the field. That's your responsibility as a parent. And again, that takes the fan out of the experience. But my biggest peeve is the way that the teams let their ushers basically punish children for trying to be part of the game. And right now where attendance is low across the entire league, not just the A's. The A's get the brunt of the of that hit because they are pretty low and they're going through a lot of problems right now with stadiums and, basically a team that's tanking it this year. But when you have nobody in the stadium, you're not blocking anyone. But when you have these underpaid and, I don't know, frankly, not nice people. They're some of the worst people. It's a customer service job. Yelling at kids, sometimes putting their hands on them, which has been a problem a few times, and shooing them away when they're just trying to talk to a player or, again, try to get a ball. They're just holding up their sign, it's my birthday, whatever. And you got these guys going, get out of here, go to your seat. And it's, an hour before game time. I would understand if the game was happening and, you're standing right in front of somebody who paid good money for a seat. I totally get it. But if there's nobody there, leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Let them have fun. We got guys who are getting paid tens of millions of dollars for a kid's game, but then we are mean to the kids who attend the game. That never made sense to me. But give kids more access. Give more kids access to baseball, and you'll find that you'll have more interaction with kids who want to come to games. You'll have kids who will want to bring their kids to games, like I brought mine. My son went to his first game. He was just a few days old. I don't know if that's a good thing, good or bad parenting on my part, but just a few days old. My kid's grown up at the Coliseum. I've worked there. I started a company in the late 1900s. 97, I started a company, Baseline Sports Media, which I sold. They did fan photography. In the state, they don't do it anymore. Everybody's got selfie sticks and cameras and stuff now, so you don't need a guy to take your fan photo anymore. But I've been involved in this game a long time, and it's really sad to see the way it's gone. Again, we've got prima donnas who think they're too good for everybody else. We have owners who don't care. We have a commissioner doing everything